This video is in partnership with Rosetta Stone, the language app. Hola mis amigos, y bienvenidos al video. If you don't know already, I'm bilingual. French is actually my mother tongue, but as you can see, I'm on the road to becoming a trilingual, so I'm locked in. So now, let's all lock in. Rosetta Stone has been a real treat, the fastest and most effective way to learn a language. They've got some game-changing features, particularly dynamic immersion, that pair both images and words in a more intuitive and connective environment, forcing your brain to make natural connections and associations, helping you learn through context and reasoning. It's a very sensible, natural way to learn things. It's cool. My favorite part about Rosetta Stone is that, first, they cater to your specific way of learning, whether it's for work or for travel or whatever you need it for. And second, they teach you words and phrases that you actually use and need. And finally, as a bilingual already, I know the importance of pronunciation and how simply reading words doesn't teach you exactly how to say them. Rosetta Stone has this cool true accent pronunciation that actually compares your pronunciation to native speakers, giving you instant feedback. Learning a new language and connecting to a brand new culture is worth it. If you're interested, you can get over 60% off Rosetta Stone's lifetime unlimited subscription with the exclusive link down in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen, but only for a limited time. That's one payment, lifetime access, 25 languages, forever. When I try and rack my brain for some of my favorite and the best introductory arcs in manga and anime, it's hard for me to find too many that are stronger than the Land of Waves arc. Of course, it's subjective, but I really do feel that the Land of Waves arc has a legitimate claim to being Naruto's strongest, especially thematically. It establishes so many of Naruto's defining themes and messages, and this introduction impacts the story up until its final chapter. Also, the world building done in the 30 chapters is fantastic. The arc to me really begins when they are in the Hokage's office, begging for a mission, and Tazuna quickly opens the world up for the cell. We learn about the 5 main shinobi territories, and also how powerful and how important shinobi are to their nations. We learn quickly that these ninja villages are military forces and diplomats handling relations with neighboring countries. The villages are said to be on equal footing with their governments. Most of all in this arc, we learn about the real nuances of what it means to be a shinobi. In Team 7's first encounter with an enemy, they go against Miss Ninja, who are said to be renowned for their willingness to fight for their goals, even at the cost of their own lives. And in their second encounter with an enemy, they meet Zabuza, whose bloodlust is felt and who explains to them about the bloody mist and how Zabuza butchered an entire graduating class. From the very first episode, we are met with the darkness of this world, but this arc exposes the world for what it really is. It's brutal, it's grimy, and it's ruthless. The tone of this series changes rather quickly, from bell tests and childhood crushes to bloody massacres. These state-approved tests by the village hidden in the mist were implemented to find the best shinobi their land could offer. A test where children, often friends, fought to the death. A test where a child wanted to survive so badly he became a demon and massacred an entire class for it. Power is paramount. As Haku narrates it, the Land of Mist had been a hotspot for generations of war. And those who wielded Kekkei Genkai were tools in that war, to be exploited, twisted, and used to cause terrible slaughter. So in the generations that followed that war, Kekkei Genkai wielders were considered abominations, and looked at as, quote, harbingers of doom, only to be later hunted down, as Haku and his mother were. We quickly learn about how this world works politically, how nations profit off of violence, and in this arc, we learn about how truly violent this series will be. Using the Land of Mist as the kids' first exposure to the world works wonderfully, because of the condition the mist is in. It's much different than the leaf, so the change is jarring, even visually. Konoha is bright, drawn with vibrant colors, a village with order and structure. The mist, on the other hand, is poverty-ridden. Businesses are barren, resources are scarce, food is scarce, there's homelessness. The country is in a horrible state. They have corrupt businessmen like Gato controlling necessary industries of their nation. Renowned ninja reduced to simple mercenaries, and so many local thugs looking to make a quick buck. Though we don't know it yet, the state of the mist is because of the shinobi system. Corruption has plagued this nation, with the 4th Mizukage being manipulated, the constant swapping of Jinchuriki, the handling of tailed beasts, the fates of the Yuki clan and the Kaguya clan. We even learned that Zabuza's coup was to try and save the Mist from this very corruption and manipulation. The Bloody Mist is an example of the system at its worst, and Team 7 is shown how different their life could have been, where a simple bridge builder has an incredible bounty on his head. That's how corrupt their world really is. To go even further about the nuances of shinobi, Haku shows up under the guise of a shinobi hunter. We learn that their role involves hunting down and disposing of rogue shinobi and outlaws of their own nations in order to prevent their nations' secrets from being exposed. From the aura of their chakra, their jutsu, kekkei genkai like the Sharingan, the ingredients of any potions or drugs they consume, all of these things can give their enemies insight and can even be replicated by them. These nations are so reluctant to give other nations an edge, they are willing to do anything in order to keep their intel locked off. This tells us how volatile the shinobi world is. There is no camaraderie, no trust amongst nations. It's like a constant arms race. Who can gain the upper hand on the other? All of this information builds up the world that these characters inhabit. Shinobi are such an integral part of this society. The copy ninja doesn't even bat an eye when he sees a shinobi as young as Haku being a hunter. No matter the age, no matter the lineage, they all perform the same duties, protect their country and carry out their mission at whatever cost. Their philosophy, as Haku describes it, is to kill one's own heart with one's blade. No matter what, true shinobi must never show their emotions. The mission is the only priority. Carry that in your heart and never shed a tear. Tazuna says that being a shinobi is unbearable. Learning all of these definitions, seeing all of these events play out with Haku and Zabuza and Team 7, it becomes evident that shinobi don't have the luxury of having their own humanity, their own heart, even their own perspective considered in their actions. They must do whatever is necessary to complete their mission, to achieve their goals. A true shinobi has the psychological strength to turn their hearts into ice and take a human life. In this introductory arc, we learn that to be a true shinobi is to kill for one's own goal. This is the world that they are building in only these 30 chapters. A shinobi is a tool to be used and to use others. That's what's beaten into these children until it becomes almost irreversible, like how Zabuza responds to Haku's death. It becomes evident that rarely do shinobi exhibit individuality and their own philosophy, like Kakashi, who vows to always place his comrades over the mission and always chooses what's right because he refuses to be a coward. But even the renowned copy ninja still remains a cog in the system. He lives with that inherent cognitive dissonance. Shinobi are complex creatures because they are forced to compartmentalize their humanity and their duty. They are taught that their purpose does not matter. And so these two things are bubbling inside of them. That's what Kakashi tells us. They are supposed to sacrifice their humanity and kill their hearts in order to pursue the mission. It's in this introduction alone, the series makes it explicit that the shinobi system is incredibly broken. Look at Zabuza's reaction when he is finally forced to feel something. The way Kakashi talks about a shinobi's purpose. How Tazuna describes shinobi to be unbearable. Look at how shinobi are treated upon death. Kakashi says that shinobi leave the world silently and without a trace. Shinobi hunters leave their targets dismembered. They take their heads as proof for their kills. That is what you do with a tool. Once you're done using it, you discard it. Being a shinobi means being reduced to a body with abilities. They train their entire lives, they destroy their bodies, they pump them with whatever drugs or potions that they need to gain an advantage, and rarely do they die in their own homes. Seldom are they buried with their loved ones. It's why Haku struggled to become a quote true shinobi, because of his existentialism. He thought about his purpose and about how Zabuza fit into all of that. But Haku was a victim to the shinobi world, a willing tool who became whatever Zabuza wanted because he yearned to be needed in the world. Haku is a mirror to Naruto, someone Naruto could have very well become if his circumstances were even a tad worse. Naruto desired to be needed and acknowledged, but he grew up in a village. He was still looked after by people. The third Hokage, Iruka. Haku's mother was killed by his father, and his father nearly killed him simply for possessing that kekkei genkai. and thus his desire to just be wanted by somebody grew and grew after being orphaned. Their commonalities lie in the fact that the shinobi system has caused all of their problems. Children that are 11, 12 years old should not have to yearn to be needed. These things shouldn't be on the forefront of their minds. Haku and Zabuza are examples of what Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi could have all become. So for all their struggles, they should feel grateful that they have a village to return to. One that is not being held hostage by a Madara or a Gato, or a village that passes Jinchuriki around like trading cards. Haku and Zabuza's deaths are wake-up signs. They are signifiers that this world is cutthroat, so much so that even good and pure people meet fates that they sometimes don't deserve. Haku was a pure child, a good child, but he never got to be a kid. Zabuza turned his own heart into ice because of what he had to do to survive, as did Haku. Naruto's outburst, his plea for Zabuza to find his humanity, becomes a common theme over the series. And it is because of Haku, because of the Land of Waves, because of everything that he has seen, that Naruto vows to become a powerful shinobi, not by destroying his humanity, but by inspiring others to find theirs, despite the teaching that has been engraved into their minds and bodies. Of course, we see that with Nagato, with Gaara, with Neji, and so on and so forth. Haku taught Naruto that bonds are what separates the strong from the undefeatable, because those who fight for something to protect will find the strength to do so. Bonds are the reason we live. And we see that first with Inari when his mother tells the story of his father, who says that if something is precious to you, you have to hang in there and protect it with all the strength that you've got, even at the risk of your own life. And he lost his arm and his life protecting the people he loves. And Haku repeats the same things to Naruto. When people protect something truly precious to them, they can become as strong as they must be. It's that message that propels Naruto's way of life, and it takes him through every single roadblock. In fact, he demonstrates it only a few chapters later. After Haku attacks Sasuke, and Sasuke protects him, Naruto awakens the Nine-Tailed Chakra. To save Gaara from the darkness, he does the same thing. To save Tsunade, he takes a blade to the hand. To save Hinata and the leaf, he perfected Sage Mode and took control of the Sixth Tail and got even to the Eighth Tail. To save the world, Naruto inherited the Sage of Six Paths ability. And finally, to save Sasuke again, he sacrificed his arm. When people protect something truly precious to them, they truly can become as strong as they must be. And these words ring true for Sasuke as well, as his body moved first on its own to save Naruto. He once quelled the inextinguishable flames of the Amaterasu for Karin, and he also inherited the abilities of the Sage of Six Paths to save the world. Naruto aiming to grow and become powerful through his humanity is also prevalent in Sasuke's story, particularly when he spares Naruto at the end of their fight in part 1. Though Itachi told him to kill the one closest to him to gain the Mangekyo, Sasuke says that he's going to forge his own path. This arc shows what we see time and again for Sasuke, and that's that he is someone who loves ferociously. Despite his focused, arrogant demeanor, you could argue that no one understands the weight of bonds as much as Sasuke, and he feels them so uniquely over the course of the series. From his parents, to Team 7, to the Taka, from Itachi to Naruto, he bears the weight of these relationships until he feels like they are almost too precious to him, that they hurt him too much. Love is the reason these characters do anything and everything. Because they've been so deprived of these bonds, of these connections, they fight tooth and nail to protect what it is and who it is that they love. It is why they grow incredibly strong. Even the absence of love causes characters like Madara, like Obito, to become hellishly powerful. Because all of their lives they have desired it. Because bonds are what make life worth living. In this arc, Naruto learns that Sasuke is precious to him, because when Sasuke sacrificed himself for Naruto, he then felt what he was searching for his whole life. He finally felt acknowledged and cared for. It's in this arc that Sasuke becomes the most treasured person in his life, the person most precious to him, because he risked his life in a way that no one ever would for Naruto. This is the genesis of Naruto's unyielding desire to save Sasuke, and that's what makes this arc so important. They have these tremendous abilities and these monsters inside of them, and yet all they want is to be wanted. This arc introduces us in both tone and imagery to the grittiness of the Naruto world. to the violence that they are going to be met with, to the brutality of it all, the tragic nature of the shinobi world. Being a shinobi is unbearable. They learn that their enemies are rarely the personification of evil. Instead, their enemies are people trying to feed themselves, people trying to protect themselves, people who have faced equally or worse injustices than they have. And for Team 7, it's protect themselves or die. And they learn what it's like for those who aren't shinobi, for those who don't have the ability to defend themselves, like Inari. The Land of Waves is the perfect introduction to Naruto, and an opening arc that stands amongst even the very best of the genre.